Yeah, we
Yes.
will
Yeah.
sprinkle in some other people into these shows as well to get some other opinions.
We actually know people. I can get my daughter to come on.
Frankie's one friend.
Kira.
Oh, we're not
Tell
going to
me
go
what you
that route.
think.
Okay,
Shut up,
it's-
Dad.
Shut up, Dad. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the For the Love of the Game soccer podcast. As we've debated what we should call this podcast, three morons talking soccer, but we went away from that. So,
That was taken.
For the Love of the Game is the soccer podcast where we'll be discussing some different topics all the
From
time.
a fan's perspective. Yeah.
And so episode 1 is, will the U.S. men's national team win a World Cup during our lifetimes? So let's first start with just straight up answer the question, a yes or no, and then we'll go into things. Frankie.
Okay, I will go first. Since I'm the oldest, the U.S. would have to win in the next 2 years. So I'm going to say that I'm going to die before the U.S. wins a World Cup. However, the two of you are much younger and have much more life left to live, and you will probably see the U.S. make a run that could wind up winning the cup. Remember, they actually did make a run in Germany where if they were beating Germany in the, what was it, the semifinal?
I'm glad I asked for a simple just yes or no answer to get things started. And then Frankie and then Frankie goes into answering for us, Solly. You like that?
But you youngsters need direction.
Okay.
Okay.
Since I look the youngest, I'll go next.
Okay,
no way.
Go ahead,
Solly.
Yes,
Solly.
I think
he already said no way.
I really think that they will. I think we had that discussion. I've known you guys for many years, and we had those discussions many of times. And I still will stick with my feeling that they will. But there is a but in this. But the system somehow have to change. And that's, I believe that the players that's coming through in the US, they're athletes. And with athletes, really
Solly!
a lot of great
Solly.
So, yeah. What?
You're freezing up, Solly.
No, he's frozen.
I'm here.
Yeah.
He's not freezing. It's present and future tense.
Okay, so I think if he freezes, well, he's gone.
Yeah. Now he's frozen up.
This is going to make your editing. This is going to make your editing more difficult.
No, I'm making a note of the timeline. Just advance to. I could just scrub until I see Solly disappear, and then if he comes back. So now he's doing. I know what he's doing. He set his laptop up just in the middle of the room. He probably doesn't even have the battery plugged in. He needs to have the battery plugged in, the cord plugged in, and he needs to have an RJ45 connection directly out of his router.
Just have him plug in the power. He's probably still talking. to a black computer.
Frankie, Johnny, now you're both black. I know you're wearing all black. Are you guys looking down? Because I cannot see anything but black now. I turned my phone off.
I have my notifications turned. I have it on Do Not Disturb. So
call him. Tell him to get Simon to walk across the street and be his producer.
Oh, there we go.
Simon's at his mom's house. Simon has a little boy.
Yeah. What the hell happened?
He's getting. Is there a power outage in Sweden?
No. I have my power on.
Do you have your laptop plugged in?
Yeah.
Well, you're gone. You're out of the meeting.
What the? Should I?
You froze.
Should I hang up?
You froze up and then went out of the.
And then you dropped connection completely.
Yeah, your connection.
Should I hang up and
ask him if
log
he
on
has
again?
an Ethernet cable he can plug directly
I will
into
hang
the
up.
laptop.
I will hang up.
And turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone right now while you're doing this meeting.
Okay.
He might have had the same thing that I had happen.
He's like, I'm not in it. No.
You've been talking to nobody for the last 5 minutes.
So he's going to go out and go back in.
See this? Now, I was actually watching a lot of video last night on what the next step could be is live streaming. And I'll send you the link. There's a couple of apps that are fantastic for live streaming. Actually, more robust than Riverside to do live streaming. And I think that once we have all these kinds of hiccups out of the way and we're just able to hit record and just go, that would be the next step, is to actually live stream where people can actually text questions. And there's even a way for the host to click on the question and drag it onto the screen so you can see the person's question, and then the group can comment on the question.
I'll call him to see if he's getting his laptop back on or not, Frankie.
Okay. So, Solly, see, you're still dropping frames. Your video, your audio is, I can hear you, but your face isn't moving. So your video is frozen. Where is your router? Do you have an extra Ethernet cord that you can plug directly into the... Why don't you try moving to the... Do you have an extra cable you can plug into the laptop? Does Simon? Does your mom? I was going to say, you could just run across the street.
Yeah, try it. Frankie, stop recording for right now. Frankie, stop recording. We'll do a whole reset of the beginning of the show. We got to practice run there.
Okay.
Welcome to the first episode of For the Love of the Game Soccer Podcast. So we're three normal guys wanting to talk about soccer topics that everybody else talks about, but everybody else that talks about them are the pros, the TV announcers, and things like that. So we're going to want to give our input. We're going to want your comments regarding our points that we make, and we'll interact with you guys on the other side of things there for sure. We'll try to be active on the comment section in YouTube. So episode 1, the topic is, will the U.S. men's national team win a World Cup during our lifetimes? Let's start first with yes or no. Frankie?
Okay, yes or no? No.
Solomon?
Yes.
Johnny? No way. So let's first do this. The two American-born guys here on this video podcast say no. The guy born outside of the U.S. but is an American says yes. Let's start with Solomon.
Let's find out his inside information.
Okay. Well, inside. I'm trying to use a common sense at that stage. I think that me living in the U.S. for so many years, played and trained there. I believe that the players in the U.S. compared. Well, I mean, even in Europe, there's a lot of good athletes, but especially in the U.S., we have a lot of great athletes, and the new generation I really think they will get it together. And now look at how far we've come since the league started 1996 or something like that. The level have gone up every year. So I think we will catch up. There are a lot of players, young American players that are playing in Europe with the big leagues, and and in that case, in that way, they will get a lot of developmental things to their game. So that's why I think it's going to even be better because of athleticism. They have they're athletes, and when they put that together with the knowledge that they will get, whether it's in Europe or MLS or whatnot, I really believe that in my lifetime they will.
So, Frankie, do you want to start punching holes in his theory first?
Let me say a couple of things.
Bring it on.
He just said that makes sense. And for me, the whole problem with development of soccer in the U.S. has been the pay to play has been the only route to get to the national team. So soccer in this country is almost like golf and tennis, where it requires a lot of money to pay club fees, to travel, to whatever. And that always held back the more natural. Wait, let me finish a sec. Let me finish 1 second, Solly. So that's kind of held back the people that couldn't afford to play. Even with scholarships, you don't get as many just pure athletes that are able to play. Now, what I've seen happening recently is that now MLS teams are forming academies, much like Europe had put together, where you don't have to pay to play. They select you to come into their academy, and you're brought along in the academy without having this pay to play thing holding athletes back. Now it's just a matter of identifying athletes, much like Solly, you had done in Sweden, where you were identified and put into a special training group. The U.S. looks like they're on the verge of being able to do that. And then the model seems to be send them immediately to Germany or, academies overseas, and then they're getting even higher quality training.
Johnny, go ahead, because I have so much to say about this with regards to the identifying players and those kind of things. Go ahead is the question.
Well,
let me add one more thing. The other thing about U.S. soccer is that it is so structured. Everything is structured. There's not a lot of just pickup play. A lot of creativity comes from just playing without the pressure of having coaches around and working on creativity and failing and not being chastised or corrected for failing, just trying to create something. You don't see a lot of real creative American players. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I disagree so much with that. But Johnny, go ahead.
The whole thing for the U.S. For me, it starts at the top.
Yes.
The reason the U.S. will not win during my lifetime, and I probably got 25 more years at least around that range, is the top. There's people and dinosaurs in power that don't want to relinquish power, don't want to relinquish any say in what is going on. The system hasn't worked from the top down. No. Even when they did relinquish some power and bring in Klinsmann years ago, they didn't turn things over. When they brought in Klinsmann, I thought there could be a chance.
I thought there would be a whole staff of grassroots identifiers, but
no,
this is the largest talent pool in the world of athletes, of natural athletes, of other things like that. But I've got other points to make as we move along. But jump back to Sally there. But for me, it all starts at the top.
I definitely what Frankie was saying. I disagree. More with Johnny, and I'm sure Frankie will agree that it starts in the top, and there has to be made some changes at that stage. I coached in college for many years, and identifying different players at that stage, right? And there has to be a different way you can identify the players, and there has to be qualified enough people that can identify these players, not only because they know their father or their mother, or they know that doesn't work like that. Over here, when we identify a player, he has to be of a quality that you can't have him mistaken at that stage. There are so many good players, and I believe that U.S. have a lot of good players, but the people that identify them are not choosing the right ones. I'm sorry to say that.
There's a lot of favoritism, and that is absolutely true. Because I know just from ODP experience on the state level.
Yeah, but the system needs to be changed. Somehow, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But I really think that we have 300 million people, close to 400, and then we can't find a world-class players in that
players?
Yeah. I mean, we will be able. It's a system that is a little bit. I don't think
it's broken. It's a broken system. ODP is a good example.
I think
it's not broken because it never worked.
It's never worked. Well, that's my point. It's not broken because it never worked. So, hold on, Frankie. Over here, when something is, I mean, we have our problems. The whole Europe. I mean, you have the French Academy, you have the Belgian Academy, you have the English Academy, you have the Swedish, the Norwegian, Academy. And all of these. They're not. We have problems, but I believe in those kids in the U.S. I really do, because I've been in there and I've seen their passion. I've seen how they're dedicated. I mean, they just need a little bit of guidance and correct the system. How, I really don't know. I have no idea. But I know
I think that first of all, it starts when the kids are very young, because by the time you're 12 years old, you have to be technically good across the board because at 12 you start tactical training, and if you can't technically
Now we're going
control
into
a
a little
ball,
bit. No.
but the problems that I saw at ODP, my daughter was on the state team and went to regionals, and the regional camp was run so poorly that it took the entire summer. We were in Houston and Dallas, then we were in Montevallo for the regional tryouts. The entire summer was blown doing ODP and team stuff, and my daughter was so turned off by how much of her summer was just soccer that she doesn't want to do ODP at all now. But it was so poorly run, topic. No parent wanted. It was all last minute.
Frankie, that's a different topic. That
was from the top down. It was so disorganized that nobody knew. Even the training sessions at regionals were bad.
I mean, you look at from the top down. Okay, there's too much money in youth soccer. There's too much money at the top that those guys that are running it poorly are making. Too much money in youth soccer.
Solly's gone again.
Yep.
What happened?
But yeah, that's the club Kira was at. The people at the top were making six figures, and what are they doing?
He probably doesn't know he's gone.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna stop recording again.
Johnny.
So it all still goes back from the top down, where there's too much money at the top. There's too much money for coaching directors that are earning money because of the more kids they sign up in their club, the more money they're making, the more money their club's making. There are clubs that have 8 or 9 teams in an age group. You're telling me the 9th team down in an age group is getting quality matches and quality whatever and things like that? They're not. That's just money making stuff. So that's part. Another part in the U.S. for a long time. Any coach that came over here with a foreign accent, they're put in charge of clubs and all this kind of stuff. Not, I know there's a lot of American players that grew up playing like us, and when they start telling us that we need this license and this license and this license, you're telling me this guy that's never played but goes and gets a license knows more than what some of us can do. So there's still parts like that. But also, Frankie, I disagree with when you said a minute ago about by the time they're 12, they need to be technically sound and this kind of stuff. You're telling me that you, me, or Solly can't take a 12-year-old that's a good athlete and in 6 months catch them up with individual training and stuff like that? So,
well, I've actually seen that happen now. Kira had a player that was super fast, and that's been like the U.S. mandate for the last 20 years is, as a coach, identify speed and grab speed. This girl was crazy fast. She went to wait a minute. She went to IMG, and in 1 year, she has gone from just being fast and not able to control the ball to being fast and have great technical ability. So it can be, and she's 14, so she went to IMG at 14. So they were able to turn her around in 1 year. So yes, it can be done. I'm just talking broadly, where broadly everyone should have a similar technical base to build from for tactical.
So then what, some things that we've always heard growing up for why the U.S. can't win a World Cup, won't win a World Cup. They talk about needing a strong domestic league. Solly talked about the level of MLS earlier. It's getting better every year since the first year. Solly, getting better doesn't make it a good league or a viable league for international competition and things like that. But
no, it doesn't. But
do you guys agree that a country needs a strong domestic league, though, to be able to have a shot. I'm not saying win, even have a shot of getting to the quarterfinals, semifinals in a World Cup.
I think it will help, but most importantly, obviously the domestic league needs to be at a high level. But I think it's the players that are on the field, because a lot of them also get exposure to be abroad playing in the big leagues in Europe at that stage, right? So,
Yeah.
but I agree with you that you need the domestic league to be better, and it's getting better and better, but it will take a little bit of while. And the thing is, what we have to stop with is, in the US anyhow, is to get in the 35-year-old Pirlo or the 39-year-old Ibrahimovic. I mean,
It
how
shouldn't
great
be a
player they
retirement
are.
league.
Yeah, how great player they are, and they will do well at the league. They will do well because the level is down. That's why they will do well at 38, 39 years old. But
what they don't
I-
understand is the travel that is involved in the U.S.
yes, that has a way, but I think that's just minimum problem with that.
Travel or not doesn't help the U.S. national team with bringing in those aged players.
No.
Now you see countries
so
like Belgium
I really think that they have to continue developing the young kids that's coming in. I like the college system, to get drafted after college if they're good enough. That is a system that I've worked for all the other sports, and I really think it will work for soccer too. But there is a big but, that when they get up there, either you make it or not at that stage. And
my problem with college is that they changed the rules to suit them. Instead of playing FIFA rules, they make up college rules. I just don't like.
It doesn't really. In the end of the day, either you can dribble or not. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, if you can pass a ball quality or you can't, it doesn't mean that they have to. It has nothing to do with the changing your rules if it's FIFA or not. Who cares?
Right.
If you can
now,
play,
I have watched college games lately, and it's drastically better than 5, even 10 years ago. So college has made a significant improvement, but I've always wondered, is it in a player's best interest to lose 4 years that they could be playing professionally like Europeans do?
Yeah, but the thing is that at least they have an education if they don't make it. In Europe, over here, they go back to work. If they don't make it, they're done. They have to start doing.
They go to their mandatory Swedish military service in the snow. So
that's right. Well, not anymore. But
so MLS, what percentage? Yes. What percentage? I'm looking it up right here on Google. So this is Google giving me numbers here. What percentage of players in the MLS do you think are foreign, not U.S. born players?
35%.
I think it's a very high percentage.
You think 35% is foreign, Frankie?
Yeah.
I would say it's
mostly
more. I would say
they're recruiting from South America right now.
I would like to say we're close to 48%.
Foreigners, and this is again just looking at, like, Googling it right there. Foreigners is 57.3% in the MLS.
I rest my case.
How many international skill level quality players from the U.S. are pulled overseas? I don't know that number, but it's 40 at the most.
Very few
at all ages, maybe.
It's not a big number, no, but there used to be just a handful. Now there's several handfuls that are going over there, but yeah, until we can get a domestic league that has a majority of American players that are solid in every position, then we're going to struggle at a national team level.
Well, and so
to assemble a team.
So that's one thing we always heard. You need a strong domestic league. Okay, well, we don't have that, but Brazil and Argentina don't really have strong domestic leagues either.
No, they don't.
So what's happening there? They and
their grassroots system is completely different.
It's their culture.
It's their culture. Yeah, when Steve Parker took that Alabama ODP team to Zico's camp in Brazil for a week or 2 weeks, there was a significant difference between the Brazilian players they were playing with and the Alabama kids. The mindset was completely different. And those Brazilian kids, as soon as training was over, they went straight to the beach and they kept playing until it was too dark to play on the beach.
It's a culture. It's been in their place or in their culture for so long. In the U.S. basketball,
the baseball, U.S. we have such a wide diversity of opportunities.
You gotta give it a little bit more time at that stage. And I really think that it will catch on. I know you will say that
how much time? Solly, we've been hearing this since the mid 80s, since when the U.S. made the World Cup again in 1990 in Italy after not being in for how many years, and then the MLS comes. We hosted a World Cup. We're gonna host another World Cup. It's not. I mean, okay, then here we go. Other reasons or whatever. There are too many sports that kids can play in the U.S.
Yeah,
on top of just the U.S. lifestyle and
in the US.
Video games and computer access and whatever, and cell phones everywhere. I mean,
yeah, I know you're correct in your statement about that. It was since the 80s, and the thing is that so soccer starting U.S. is starting to get up soccer with Pelé coming and start to promote it and those kind of things, right? You have to understand that all the other countries, it was like they started like in 1920s or even before that. So it would take those, I mean, it's year in, year out of getting that culture in. And I think it will go quicker for the US because number one, how do I say it? They have such great athletes. I really think so. But you're right. 57% of the domestic league are foreigners. That's that's really one of the problems.
It's a big problem.
Even though I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm still a foreigner at that stage. But the thing is that we have to try to get the American kids, the kids that you don't see, in these regular leagues. If you can get their attention to come up, they're athletes. I promise you, I have the feeling that U.S. will be a team to be reckoned with in the future. But it's a long road before that. There's a lot of things that have to change.
And that goes back to the question, is it going to happen in our lifetime? And I thought that when that team from that qualified for Italy in that World Cup, what year was that?
90.
I thought once those guys were in a head of the pyramid position where they're coaching and executives at the top level, that there would be significant changes in the way America grows players. And they're there now, but nothing has changed. So I still think there has to be a major systematic change in the way
absolutely
things are run.
That I agree with.
What countries? Go ahead, Sally.
You can't have a guy that has a man that have never played football or soccer, and then he goes and takes his licenses, and then he goes out on the field and try to have a technical and tactical session. I don't get that. I really don't get that. And there is only very few players or coaches that has not played the game and still are very successful. Very few. Not even Mourinho. Mourinho played. I mean, he wasn't that good, but at least he was playing.
Yeah,
Arsene Wenger played. You have the Manchester United. Sir Alex, he played. So there isn't many
great
players.
Coaches. Right.
And
I can use an example of a coach here that has never played, but he's like a researchaholic. He's researched and he knows how to do rondos, and he teaches.
That's fine.
But he can't. But he can't read the game. So
he can't relate.
He can't.
I mean, he can do.
You watch him at
he
halftime.
Can do whatever he wants to do. He can't relate.
He can't process what the problem is and fix it by talking to the players.
I just think it's how you have to know how to motivate them, how to try to find each and every individual their personality. You have to know to motivate them.
You can't push someone
and sometimes to open up. To be tough on them, so they can't relate, and that I have a problem with. And that is one of the biggest. I mean, they want to be coaches. That's their dream. So they go there on a 3-4 week courses. Oh no, I have an A license. Man, it's
like 6 months now.
But
yeah,
but the guy Frankie is talking about, or whoever it could be, one thing that it sounds like a coach like that has going is they have passion.
Yes,
if they're going and doing the studying, whatever, there's a passion there. So I give a break on that because of having passion rather than just in it to make a big salary running a club or something like that. So I give that coach more of a break and hopefully watching
he loves the game.
Learn.
So he loves the game. He loves the game. And
as a coach at halftime, you can't throw 300 things that the players did wrong. You give 1 or 2 coaching points of correction so that they continue listening and they just make a couple of adjustments. But you have to identify what the problems are and address that 1 or 2 things and let them get out there and think for themselves. Okay. That's another thing. They have to think for themselves.
So what countries... The U.S. talent pool, we say, could be an advantage.
It's massive.
What countries export the most professional players to professional leagues around the world? Not the U.S., right? What countries?
It's not the U.S. Probably Brazil.
Brazil's number 1.
Argentina.
Number 3.
Yep.
And the
Ivory
French.
Coast.
France is
the
number
French
2.
right now. Yeah, they've got the most exports right now. The Dutch,
and then the Dutch.
For such a small country, they still
the Dutch are not in the top 10. Nope.
No, they're because they're the size of Rhode Island.
some of the African countries, Senegal or Ghana or something like that.
Yeah, Ivory Coast has a few.
So Brazil was 1,200 players. France is 781. Argentina 753. Serbia number 4. And I can't remember what year this is from. This is from a couple of years ago, I think. England 5.
All those Eastern Bloc, Yugoslavia, not Yugoslavia. That's not even a country anymore. But there's that what used to be Yugoslavia that are all broken up. They have quite a few.
Croatia's in this top 10 list.
Yep.
Yes,
Nigeria
Croatia.
is 9.
Yeah.
Nigeria is the one African country in the top 10. Uruguay
Wow.
is in the top 10. Germany's number 7. So with all the players the U.S. has, we've gotten a handful of guys overseas, and the best U.S. players for our national system and our captains for how many years couldn't survive over in the European leagues. Landon Donovan,
Right.
He was a great U.S. player. They all say, that's a whole different subject, but
yeah,
he couldn't make it over there. Michael Bradley was at Roma, and he left Roma to come to the MLS to Toronto, and that was heading into a World Cup year, I think, and he left.
Yeah,
training overseas.
Klinsmann kind of flipped out over that.
So,
but you had a lot of American players that were in Europe come back, probably because they were past their peak already, and they couldn't.
Yeah,
I mean, because every training session, you're battling to start.
Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be, and that's what we're lacking in the US. But I mean, the one who did really well in England at that time, McBride, he really did well.
He was a beast. Yeah. He trained like
he really
a madman.
He did well.
He threw himself at every ball that came into the box.
So there are players.
We've seen the countries that export players, and all of those countries have gone deep into World Cups, right?
Yep.
I mean, Croatia didn't. They've gone deep into World Cups as well. Serbia maybe not, but I mean, Spain, Germany, Nigeria has been deep into World Cups. Top leagues in the world, and I'm just punching holes out there. Why? I mean, again, the U.S. is up against the rest of the world to try and go win a World Cup. I mean,
I mean that's what's the beauty of the game. That's the beauty of the game.
Yeah, it's always difficult to watch like a Champions League match and then have it followed on national television by an MLS match.
Because the pace.
There's a huge drop off, and they're walking. They're walking. And the Champions League match, they're sprinting everywhere, and the ball is just pinging around right on their foot.
All right, so running down, here my list of reasons the U.S. won't, and then I'm going to run down a quick list. There's too many sports in the U.S. for kids to play, right?
Yep.
There's too many choices. They can go make a whole lot more money playing any other sport. And then my whole life and my whole working career, working around the soccer industry, kind of, what were the stats that I was always hearing? There are more kids playing soccer in the U.S. than all of the other sports combined. Than all the sports combined.
Yeah.
So what, it's so again, I still point at the top at the system that, it's I don't see that changing in the next 10 years. I mean, too much money in youth clubs.
What would be a realistic number of years, do you think? Because I'm thinking like 40 or 50 years.
I think being optimistic, 30 more years.
I would say.
And I hear a lot of numbers thrown around because the U.S. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Solly.
I would.
Go ahead.
I would say I'm more optimistic. I don't know why I am. I'm more optimistic. I think that within the 10 years, we will be at least in the semifinal. That's what I'm saying to you. That's
actually a possibility, just depending on the draw and the young players that we've already just had pop up out of nowhere, or for me, pop up out of nowhere because I just wasn't paying attention.
And a little bit tweaking in the system, like John is saying. I think just a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of rule changing and then get rid of these dinosaurs that are trying to decide this and this and this. They have no idea. Then
because
I really
it's a
think we'll be
bottleneck,
able
and if
to.
you can release that bottleneck, there will be American players just flooding the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's stuff here in the U.S. that kids have to deal with. Video games, this, that, social media, electronics, and then everybody gets a trophy in the U.S. now.
That's got to stop.
Kids aren't
taught. That's got to stop.
Kids aren't taught how to deal with losing, and
losing should motivate you.
We're not going to
win.
Score. We're not going to do this. Oh, okay, for little bitty kids, that's fine. But at some point, you've got to
You
learn.
have to get tough skin, and when you lose, you remember what that feels like. And when you get into another opportunity to win, you feed on that and you go, I'm not going to lose because I know what that felt like.
So, money for the dinosaurs running the U.S. soccer is a deterrent for everything.
Yep.
Money in the other countries. What the richest leagues in the countries, the best leagues in the world. Run down that list.
Well, the Premier League,
Premier League number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
La Liga,
Serie A is probably 3.
Yeah.
La Liga would be 2.
La Liga's 2.
Italy, Serie A would probably be 3.
And it's 4 on this list. This is probably a year old or 2 years. So, Bundesliga.
Yeah. I forgot about Bundesliga. Yeah, the Bundesliga would be 3. And then you
the French league.
Have a
French 5.
French, and then you've got the Eredivisie, the Dutch.
Eredivisie
is such a small country.
Is 8 on this list. Brazil is 6. Superliga Argentina 7. Portugal Primera Liga 9.
Yeah.
And this list, I think somebody's just trying to skew things. This list has MLS number 10. Do you guys
not? That's wrong.
I mean, I don't know. And these are professional leagues. I don't know what other league. I mean, I can see maybe that's.
I mean, I can see that that happened because if you get 60,000 at a Seattle Sounders game, a lot of leagues don't get that. So. I can see that.
Yeah, there's hotbed areas in the U.S. where there's diehard soccer people, but across the whole league,
so
I don't know. And we kind of boost ourselves. I know. I was telling Johnny. The old NASL days, the New York Cosmos had pulled together all these superstars that were retirement age. But when they got Beckenbauer from Bayern Munich, that put them in another level where Bayern Munich wanted to play a friendly against the Cosmos. So the Cosmos went to Bayern, I think it was 1978, and they were destroyed. It was like 7-1. Canalia was the only player to actually score. Beckenbauer was never even seen in the defense. Gerd Muller scored like 4 goals. Paul Breitner assisted pretty much every goal. Karl-Heinz Rummenigge scored a couple. But the German team had about 7 or 8 national team players on their side. They were a quality team and just brushed aside the Cosmos like they were children.
Yeah, and the league was in the beginning, and the soccer was
bad.
Trying to start it at stage, so it's a difference.
But they were promoting it as it was, the best team in the world, and it wasn't.
So let me ask you guys this then, as we're talking about the U.S. winning and the MLS, a strong domestic league or no, and then problems from the top. The youth system and money there, does just having one great, valuable, rich team, does that give a country an advantage? Like, what are the most valuable professional soccer teams in the world?
I mean, you have Manchester United
a couple
that
of
is
years
like
ago.
I mean, they've been
Big money.
around. They're the people's team.
Man United, number
Probably
4
one
on
of the
this
richest.
list.
Wow.
Frankie said
PS,
Barcelona.
Man City,
PSG has to be number one.
Barcelona, Real Madrid.
Barcelona's 1. Real is number 2. And this
Paris Saint-Germain.
This is before Messi's moved and whatever. Who knows what their values have done? And so Bayern is 3.
Yeah.
Liverpool is after Man United. At Man City,
after Man United,
Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. So look at, there are
Arsenal.
I'm talking about the most valuable teams, not the best teams. The most valuable.
Okay. Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those teams are EPL teams, and England's not winning a World Cup.
No.
But look at the EPL teams,
and
because they've got more foreign players.
There you're heading to my point.
Yeah.
It used to be you could only have 3 foreign players on your domestic league. That was back when AC Milan was destroying Serie A. They had 3 Dutch players, Marco van Basten, Ruud Gullit, and Frank Rijkaard, that owned Serie A.
And I think I liked the way that was. Inter had the 3 German players. AC had the Dutch players. I liked how that was. Look at Napoli with their South American players and Diego back in the day and stuff. So I think.
So why can't we do? Why can't we do it in MLS?
And that's the thing. The MLS is not trying to be a feeder to the national team. It's trying to make money and get a widespread audience and fans and that kind of. It's having that strong domestic league. I don't think that's a big point. They're trying to make money their own way and have a wide audience of fans in all kinds of countries, and their purpose, they're not aligning with the U.S. soccer guys. This is again them and the soccer guys, not for the good of the game and for the national team, but for their pockets. Which they're the owners and they own the league and that stuff. And I don't
all the teams
discredit anybody for wanting to make money, but
all the teams do have academy programs under their teams, but again, they're pay to play for the most part. I think Inter Miami is the first one that doesn't require players to pay to become part of the academy. But the business model is to have multiple academies, and it doesn't even have to be in the same town, just all over the country. Like the Fire had academies in multiple states.
And what did that do for them? It churned money into their programs. That's all it did.
I really think it will change. I really think that will change. It will. So it will really change.
I'm glad Sally's so positive, because I was going to ask here, Frankie, has any of this discussion, has it made you decide, yes, you know what, in my lifetime, the U.S. can win a World Cup, the U.S. men's team?
No.
Sally, have we deterred you with your optimism with any of this?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I really think that I believe that this will happen. Again, it's like tweaking. They got to tweak on the system a little bit.
All right, so we keep, Frankie and I keep shooting down why the U.S. doesn't have a chance.
Yes.
Why? What are reasons that the U.S. can, in our lifetimes, win a World Cup? And You know,
I,
we've all
I
talked
just
about
said, I
our
just said it.
population in the talent pool, right?
Yep.
There's the
Yes.
growing passion. Solly thinks there's a growing passion. I don't know that I see that. Um, is there enough growing passion in the younger generation? Now, you know, one thing that these kids have as an advantage that we didn't, they can turn on the TV every day and see
The
a
best
great
players in the world.
player
Right.
playing. So, you know,
Right.
that's a plus with this whole electronic generation. But are they doing that, or are they playing Call of Duty? You know, I don't
Playing
know.
video game.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still
Yeah.
playing video games.
I think the,
But
the passionate one does that. I really think so. They have different heroes. I really think so. Those are for it. And the other point is, again, I will come back to it. They need to tweak the system a little bit. They really need to tweak it.
and
well, one
what we need,
improvement.
hold on, Frankie. What we need, you
Yeah.
guys out there, if you're still listening to us, we need you to go click the like button, click the subscribe button, and share this
And
with your
send some
friends,
comments.
and comment on this video and call us out on our points and our stupid points and whatever. So definitely do that. Go, Frankie.
Yeah.
We would love
Well,
to hear from you.
I know. So there's studies about when you host the World Cup, your domestic interest gets a spike for a while, and that generation usually progresses substantially. The U.S. is going to be hosting a World Cup soon, and they're forecasting that will generate a spike, much like the 90s World Cup that the U.S. hosted actually generated what actually became the MLS out of hosting the World Cup. So we're going to be hosting again soon, and that potentially could become a boost when you see your heroes in country,
Yeah,
and
we
you
need
can
to
follow
sustain
them
it.
from
We
stadium
need
to
to
stadium,
sustain it.
much like we did.
Well,
Yeah, but we need
Yeah.
when they get that interest, and we need to sustain it, and come up with great ideas to continue developing these kids at that stage, and put in a system, so it will be for a long haul, not for a short haul. So that's what we need to do.
Yeah, because
And
we really don't even have
I
a
believe
style of play yet that
can
you
you
can identify that's an American style of play.
do you
We
no, man,
do you need a style of play when you don't even know what your players are, though?
no,
That's
that's what I
right.
mean. I mean, you look at France or you look at Brazil or Germany. You know, they all have a very specific style or way of playing, and then they
What is
pull
that?
players.
What is that? What is the
Well,
style of play of Brazil, for example?
Brazil has always played the triangle and attack,
No,
and we're just going to score more goals than you.
Germany doesn't. They all play
Well,
the stuff. They play
like the
what
high
they
press
see,
now.
what they get. Yeah, but the thing is that
Is that a style of play or a tactic, Frankie?
yeah, it's a tactic.
That's a tactic.
Nowadays, it is
No.
the skill level of the players.
Yeah.
It's not about there is no he's French, they play the French way, they play the Spanish way. The only team I can say basically that have sorts of a style is Barcelona when they play the tiki taka. That's the only way.
Well, but that was one. Johan Cruyff changed the way the game was played, and for me, he's had the most influence on the game ever. Just he was one of the greatest players ever, but he was also one of the best coaches ever. And when he went to Spain and Barcelona, he put that playing system in place, with the Rondo's high pressure, small space. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's what
that
the Dutch
grew
was doing long time ago.
Yeah, but the Dutch turned their back on him, so he went to Spain and he turned Spain into world champions. And Barcelona specifically.
So again, it all flows back to like the Barcelona players and things like that and their system. Okay, that is an example, Frankie, where you're talking about a style of play. Those kids that are identified at a young age and they only come up through that system. That's
Xavi, Messi,
that's one thing.
Iniesta, all those kids
in the
came
US,
out of that academy.
In the US, where kids are jumping, oh, this club's gonna not charge me, this club's not gonna, and you've got every style, which I don't have a problem being exposed to all of the different styles of play and training techniques and that kind of stuff. But there's no consensus as for what they're looking for a talent pool or anything like that for our national teams and things like that.
The only thing the national teams identified is speed. They want fast players. That for the last 20 years, that's all I heard was speed.
That's what I've been saying, is that they just need to tweak the system a little bit so it can fit we can't do like France does or like Holland does. We don't have to do that because we're not Holland. We're not France. We have to do the American way. The American way. We have to identify how we're going to do and how we're going to play and how we're going to train. That is the way. We can't do what you were saying, Frankie, the Dutch style, because we're not Dutch.
But no. the American way also, like I said very early in this podcast, the one time in my life where I thought, there's a shot is when they relinquish some control, let Klinsmann take over and start building things and having a foreign coach. But the American way doesn't necessarily have to mean it's an American coaching staff and things like that.
No. It's taking care of the personality of the players that they have at that point. And that's about tweaking the system somehow. And that's really one of the... we're trying to emulate the Brazilian way or the Latin American way. No, we're not Latin American. We got to play the way we're a melting pot. So we have to find our identity somehow in the game. And that's the way. We can't play
that's going to be tough.
It is tough.
Is our identity going to be found quicker by sending our best young players overseas to train?
No, maybe.
That seems to be what's working right now.
Maybe because they will get the training day in, the competition day in, day out. There is no loose ends, or there is no that you have to rest. If you don't,
Germany seems to be the best.
If you don't compete, you won't get a spot. So you're always on your toes, and that's how you became better.
Game fit.
That's how you become better. That's how even your attitude in your mind changes at that stage. And
well, it has to. You're under high pressure constantly. Your mind has to think so much faster. Your touch has to be so much better, and you're fighting for that spot every single day. And I don't think a lot of American players are used to having to fight for a starting spot.
I mean,
Dortmund's been a great Leipzig, Germany's been a great growing area for young American players.
So is it culture that we don't have or lack of passion?
Culture. Lack of passion
Yeah,
is there.
definitely culture. I mean, how many people have generations of family members that have loved the game? Not a lot.
That's what I'm saying. It's a culture, and I think we will get it. But I'm more. I don't know. It's a feeling I have that I'm more optimistic. I've seen the game from '96 to now. Seeing it.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
So the change have been drastic, but the game have changed every year, so they have to follow.
Yeah, it's almost an exponential change. But seems like the game is changing more and more rapidly.
What does the U.S. have a marquee win in their history where they've showed we can go out and beat the best players in the world?
I mean, they made it to quarterfinals in the World Cup '94,
and we were and see that, and there's going another route for why I think the U.S. If we're talking now reasons the U.S. could win, if you're wanting to have me give reasons why I think in my lifetime they could, the World Cup going from 24 to 32 teams years ago, that diluted the field. And then when is FIFA going to decide, you know what, we want more money out of this tournament, we're going to add more teams.
Let's go 64.
So, I think at some point they're going to add more teams again, just because there's more matches, more revenue and things like that, more teams in, more interest maybe. So I think that's another shot at the U.S. being able to head deeper into a tournament maybe. But
yeah, we're hosting one coming up, so we'll have a lot of American fans again come on board that weren't necessarily fans in the past.
But
there may be carryover from that.
So you've got your
when you're playing in your own country,
your Patriot fans are going to jump on for a month, and then they're going to wave a flag and then move on.
But we're not talking about the league. We're talking about winning the World Cup.
I know
only, and like that. Which World Cup was it where we played Germany, and we were beating Germany until the very end of the game, and Germany went ahead and won, but we were on our way to get to the semifinal.
Well, the U.S. has been to a semifinal.
Yeah,
1930.
We've gotten close.
1930, the very first World Cup. The U.S. 13 teams in the World Cup. The U.S. made the semifinal.
That's
and then
right.
Not
what happened in
professional player?
And then our biggest victory in the history of U.S. national team is 1950. Being
England.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and then we never could.
We're working on Solly. Look, I see it turning Solly. Solly's like, these guys are right. These guys are right. I can't admit it. I can't admit it to their face.
Camera turns off. Since the camera turns off, I'm going to have to say, "There's no chance. There's no chance."
I'm solid as a rock. I'm solid as a rock.
You're stiff like a safe.
Actually, that will make me think even more. I mean, if you have like countries like Honduras making it to the semifinal or whatever it was,
Honduras is getting a player pool that is outstanding.
Yeah,
well, even in the New Orleans area,
it's not a lot of people.
The great players there are all Hondurans.
Yeah, but
it's like the Netherlands. The Netherlands is that big.
Yeah, but that's a culture. But if you take in CONCACAF over there, you have Honduras made it to the World Cup and did very, very well. They have a population. I don't even know how many they are in there. And then
17.
There is quite. I mean, it's what?
A population of 17. The whole country was the national
17
team.
people.
17
the manager had to be the 18th player on the roster.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying in some of these places. So I really think you guys will be very surprised because
I hope I am.
I will be surprised because I'll be dead. I'll be like, Let me wake up here.
No.
Solly, come knock on my casket. Hey, Johnny, guess
Hey.
what? I was right.
Dick
in
Johnny
my
up,
lifetime.
open the door. We were right.
No. But it's a very interesting topic, and you can go round and round on it. But I think that it is. I really believe that we have the resources, we have the manpower. We just have to tweak the system a little bit to get it up, and that is the
That's the thing. That on the track that we're currently going, there's no way it's going to happen. It's going to have to take a major shakeup and change the direction for it to happen.
It's not a little tweak of the system, Solly. It's
got to be a complete shakeup.
An entrenched system that you're going to have to overthrow. It's not a little tweak. So now, did we change your mind, Solly?
Absolutely not.
He's thinking.
No, I'm
he's stubborn. He's stubborn.
No, it will never change my mind. I will never change
my mind. Is a brick wall. It's stiff like a safe. It cannot be flexed.
Frankie has run into a few too many brick walls, but that's okay.
I do have a frontal lobe of brick walliness.
So
no,
again, people that are out there watching, please give us your comments. Give us your points for or against. Please like and subscribe. You can talk about whatever you want. You can call us out on our two of us having the same hairdo. I don't know what you want to do, but I don't know how we close this out. And everybody's wearing black because we're in mourning for the U.S. men's national team. I think today is what.
Oh my God, that's not it.
Solly didn't even know.
Yep,
he got the memo to mourn, and he didn't know he was mourning.
Subliminally, Solly's on the same page as us.
It's an agreement. We agree.
I'm not on the same page as you guys. I'm so far away from it. But this is a topic that will not disappear or go away.
So we'll have to agree to disagree.
So I really enjoyed it, and
the proof is in the pudding. When we see the,
hope you write something
we'll
on
see
that.
What happens this World Cup
on there, and let's see if you guys disagree or agree with us.
Yeah. What? One last quick little question here before we close it out. Do you know how deep do you see the U.S. going in this World Cup, in this next World Cup?
The upcoming World Cup. Are you according to basing it on friendlies that we've played?
Yeah, I mean it will take time to see. It's still a while to those
optimistically
games.
Not knowing the players on the team or anything. Optimistically, what's a successful World Cup for the U.S. in this next World Cup?
I think quarterfinal is a successful quarterfinal, and they have a chance to get to the quarterfinal depending on.
They've got a very good chance. The group.
What group they're going to be in? If they get group of death, it's going to be very, very hard. But if they get a decent group,
they've had that a couple of times.
They can make it all the way to the quarterfinal. And if they make it,
and they got to get out of CONCACAF.
Yeah, that's the first thing. That's the first thing. That's why I'm saying
the first thing, and
that's why I said.
Great.
Yeah, I started to hesitate on that question. The first thing is that it's a long way to that. So we have to
get to
win our groups.
Okay. So see, you're gonna pull me back into these discussions again. Then on the U.S. winning a World Cup in our lifetime, if there's a question of us even qualifying,
then
how can you expect in our lifetime? I mean. qualify every time out of this region.
I know. Good question. But the thing is that in a game, you have the same thing in Premier League. Yeah, when Manchester United is playing Barnsley, that is like close to last place. You never know until you play the ball. The game at that stage, and you never know. The ball is round; it can bounce anywhere. So that's why I'm saying to you that you can't make, you can't say how, if they're going to make it to the quarterfinal. Let's take one step at a time. I mean, you can't say you don't know if Brazil is going to win World Cup. You don't even know if they're going to have a good team.
For Sally, one step at a time, that would be baby steps. Because Sally's.
Get the little boy off the field.
Those are the short jokes now going. Short jokes. That's okay.
Well, one thing I've noticed in CONCACAF, for a while there, the U.S. did seem to have a stranglehold on CONCACAF, but then everyone else, the player development,
because we brought them all here to a league that
play college and league, and then they go back and they're stronger than we are. And now now I think we're inching up again. The young players have really stepped up and brought a new freshness to the team in mass. There's a bunch of very young, 17 to 22, very good players.
Good players.
And when they're all together, I mean, they've got about 2 teams worth of quality that has depth.
I think
they can bring a like for like sub in.
I think they're calling up Freddie Adu's grandkids as well.
No.
What?
No.
Grandkids.
Johnny went down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
And I just threw dirt on it.
Yes. Well.
All right, boys.
All right.
This is the first of 3 topics we have to discuss. Not many topics. We'll see what the lifespan is.
Well, if someone has a topic they want to suggest, put it in the comments and we can talk about that. We're not as creative as we thought we were.
I'd like you 3 idiots to talk about this, please. Okay. Yeah. We'll do that.
Right, well, which more on number 1, please respond.
And we will have some topic. We will sprinkle in some other people into these shows as well to get some other opinions.
We actually know people. I can get my daughter to come on.
Frankie's one friend.
Kira.
We're not going to go that route.
Shut up. Shut up, Dad.
Shut up, Dad. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
All right, guys.
All right.
That was it. Next topic.
Solomon,
I'll see you guys.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up or don't close the window till it tells you can close the window. Okay. Sally, are you there?
Sally.
I'm here.
Uh-oh. Sally.
Stop.
Sally.
Sure. Okay. Where does it say that to close it? Upper right
Frankie
corner.
hasn't stopped recording yet. You can stop recording.
No, it's still recording.
Yeah.
Stop recording.
This will be the intro.
Wait.
This will be the intro. This will be the intro. Sally, stop recording.
Stop the recording.